Hello, my name is Yaron Spiwak. I'm the music director for the Center for Spiritual Living, and I would love to start this morning with a song. Feel my way right through the darkness, guided by a beating heart. I can tell where the journey will end, but I know where to start. They tell me I'm too young to understand. They say I'm caught up in a dream. Well, life will pass me by if I don't open up my eyes. Well, that's fine by me. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself, and I didn't know that I was lost. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself, and I didn't know that I was lost. I try to carry the weight of this world, but I only have two hands. I hope I get a chance to travel this world. I don't have any plans. Wish that I could stay forever the young, not afraid to close my eyes. Life's a game made for everyone, and love's a roar. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself, and I didn't know that I was lost. So wake me up when it's all over, when I'm wiser and I'm older. All this time I was finding myself, and I didn't know that I was lost. Didn't know that I was lost. Didn't know that I was lost.
And you're not lost. You're found. You're found as we find you from the land of Israel, correct?
That is correct.
Good morning, Yaron.
Good evening here.
I know. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you and everyone.
It's good to have you back. I know you've been on a journey to Israel to be with your mom, and hope you've had a wonderful time there.
I do, thank you, but I can't wait to get back. It's nice to have two homes.
Yes, well, the home is where they say the heart is. And so wherever you take your heart, you're there, and therefore you're not lost, you are found in the awareness and the awakening of who you know yourself to be as a divine being. So, welcome back. It's a real pleasure to have you join us today at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles.
Thank you. My
So I
pleasure.
look forward to you sharing more of your gifts and your talent and your music with us later today.
Thank you.
Good. So we'll see you in just a moment. Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, the spiritual leader here at the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. And I welcome you into our virtual space that we currently call our home, where our heart is, and I know that your heart is, and we come together this time on Sunday morning, if it's morning where you are, if it's evening like where your own is, no matter where you're joining us from, we move into that space which is beyond time, even though obviously time governs a bit of what it is that we do. But we come together to honor that place within each and every one of us, the divine that we call that, in a way that you remember who you are as a divine being and Coming together in community gives us the opportunity to awaken ourselves to a remembrance of who we are and the power that exists within us as divine beings as we navigate this time that we were just talking about on Earth as humans. And so, happy New Year and happy 2021 to all of us as we come together for the first time in this calendar year. And I invite you to sit back and to enjoy your time as you commune in this space with each other, with loved ones that we know are on this feed together, whether it's through Zoom and or Facebook Live, or at a later date through our YouTube channel, to sit back and to enjoy and revel in the deep awakening to the wisdom that exists within all of us of who we are as these divine beings. And so I will take us on a journey today of slides on the screen along with live music and some affirmations and a morning ritual during our service today to kick off this new year and to be inspired. That's the objective here today. And so with no further ado, off we go. And so we are the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, and we've come together for over 30 years now to honor who we are as divine beings, as a community. Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles is often known as CSL-LA. And when we come together, we like to take a moment and honor the spirit within each and every one of us, as it says on the screen, that the spirit within me salutes the spirit within you. We do that through a Sanskrit act of namaste. It's the placing of our hands together in prayer position, where we put over our heart. Namaste literally means I bow to you. The act is to physical bow forward to all expressions of humanity, of sentient beings. Taking a moment to take a deep breath in and leaning forward and saying together, Namaste. That power, that force within me salutes and honors and appreciates that within you, and I receive that as well, and united we become. We're already united in mind, but this actual act of the uniting of the Namaste awakens within us a remembrance of who we are as a divine being. And so welcome into this space, for we come together to teach the philosophy, the faith, the way of life of Dr. Ernest Holmes in the teachings of the science of mind. The very essence of this philosophy, faith, and way of life is that there's only one thing taking place. One life, one presence. It's at this absolute realm where we connect to the oneness, one mind, if you will, one divine, one action, one reaction. It's all happening as we individualize this power. And as we individualize, it appears that there's more than one thing taking place, but once again, we're all from the one source and that one power, that one life itself. And so we practice using our mind, using our heart, using our soul, using our ability to think and act and react and interact to tend to our beliefs, our actions in life. And in so doing, the objective there is to develop a mindset, an awareness, a consciousness, if you will, that reflects our divine nature. In our teaching in philosophy and faith, the faith and way of life, we believe that these qualities are not limited to, but include peace and power and beauty and joy and life and light and love and wisdom. And so through this act of namaste, through this act of our actions, through this act of our reactions, our engagement with life itself, it's to magnify those qualities in life and to not only be those, but to see those in others and then to attract those back to ourselves as we expand on who and what we are, as we magnify that. The vision statement for our community is supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. Our time together is focused on having this spiritual awakening, both individually and collectively, and in so doing, with the intent of it garnering and gaining us more personal self-empowerment that magnifies itself and shows up in a way of honoring each and every person, of honoring the divinity within them. And so as a community, we welcome all races, all religions, all countries of origins, all sexual orientations, all genders, all abilities, for we stand with you and honor who you are. We celebrate the uniqueness that is you. The quote of Dr. Ernest Holmes that references this is, "Spirit has placed the stamp of individuality upon itself and called it you." And so as we call this you and honor this you, Let's affirm together, using our words, which have great power, that we welcome one and welcome all. It's taking a moment to feel that energy of welcoming, of love, of acknowledgement, and of honoring. To move us further into this awakening to our acceptance and awareness of who we are as divine beings, we shall open with a morning ritual. This morning ritual is called Calling in the Light. And I really thought about whether to continue the ritual as we move into a new year. And I felt it's important that for now we stay in this vein of the remembrance of the ritual. To take a little twist on it, but to use the act of the ritual, of the repetition of an action, to be a catalyst for each and every one of us to tap into the connection with all of humanity when this particular ritual or one of its like kind has been done throughout our humanity. The honoring of light. Through the holiday season, we had the season of light, remembering that that light is the essence of the power that gives us life itself. And so as we celebrate this change of the calendar year, I invite us to perform this ceremony in a new way to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. And as we continue to honor the light of the divine, I shall use these following words by Mahatma Gandhi to guide us. And I invite us to hear it the first time as seeing someone that we know or someone that was on the screen, a new face, and consciously use our power, our mental energy, to invoke a change in the world starting right now, honoring this universal great presence which we call Spirit, and so bringing into our mind's eye that individual or individuals. Let's offer them these words. Feel free to repeat them after me. I offer you peace. I offer you love. I offer you friendship, for I see your beauty. I hear your need. I feel your feelings. My wisdom flows from the highest source, and I salute that source in you. Let us work together for unity and peace. To add a twist to this, I now invite us all to begin to look into a mirror using our imaginative abilities and see ourselves in the mirror. For me personally, I can see myself on the screen as I do this. But as if you're looking into your own eyes, hear these words as you affirm them to yourself, knowing that healing begins in this very moment when you connect with your own soul. And so we say to ourselves, I offer you peace. I offer you love. I offer you friendship, and I see your beauty. I hear your need, and I feel your feelings. For my wisdom flows from the highest source, and I salute that source in you, the self. And so today, let's work together for unity and peace, not only within, but in all of the world. And so in this energy of choosing to be the change in our own lives, let's take a moment and using the candle that we saw before to declare it a candle of healing. And let's place anyone that we would like to have the healing energy of the eternal and everlasting love of the divine bestowed upon them. We do that right now as we place them in the light. And so, to further our ritual, we shall continue by singing the song, Let There Be Peace on Earth, letting the word peace be a reflection of the words of Mahatma Gandhi that we just used in this ritual. Yaron will come on the screen and take us through this ritual.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be with God as creator. United all are we. Let us walk with each other in a perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With each step I take, let this be my soul and vow to take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Yeah. And let it begin with me.
And so I affirm for each of us as we peer into the light that we feel this transformation that has taken place. That we affirm and know that good is indeed making itself known by each one of us. That the energy that we're putting out into the universe for peace to be present, for love to be present, for self-acceptance to be present exists right here and right now. And that the law of life does its part and responds to us by corresponding to this state of awareness that we've chosen to own, to know, to be, and to remember. We let it be as we say together, Amen. And so it is. Thank you so very much, and thank you, Yaron, for guiding us through that beautiful rendition of Let There Be Peace on Earth. It's a real joy for all of us to be together today, no matter where you may be joining us from. And I trust for each and every one of us that we are opening to this new year with a sense of renewal, with a sense of restoration, and a sense of remembrance of who we are. I'd like to invite Yaron back to the screen to sing a song for us that will be used as a platform for us to move into the next part of our service. Yaron, what song are you singing for us right now?
Called The Time of Your Life. It has a second name, also Good Riddance by Green Day.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and it's a song, it talks about turning points in your life, about forks and choices. And it's what a greater time in the beginning of the year to sing about that.
Perfect. Thank you. Take it away.
All right. Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road that grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question, but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end, it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind. Hang it on the shelf in good health and good times. The tools of memory what it's worth. It was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life.
Thank you. We are here to have the time of our life, right?
Yeah.
Good. Well, what a great way to lead us into the message for this morning, Yaron. To open up to the lack of predictability, right? Which I'm going to speak about in just a moment. So good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so as we kick off this new year, I'm going to take us through a journey of multimedia slides to help us re-engage our ability to choose anew in this new year. And so without further ado, let's begin that. And let me get the right part on the screen up, and there we go. And so just a reminder that we are the Center for Spiritual Living, and our vision statement is just this: supporting individuals on the journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. Now, for most of you, much like myself, we've heard this over and over and over and over again. We've heard it each Sunday. We've heard it ad nauseum, much like the way that I use the qualities of the divine. But I invite us today, on this first Sunday, this day, which is January 2nd in the year 2022, according to the Gregorian calendar, that we do a sense of self-analysis of where we are, not analysis from a critical perspective of judging, but just from an awareness of checking in of where we're at in regards to our personal self-empowerment, to living in a state of predictability or unpredictability on this journey that we have of our spiritual awakening. And are we willing to open our mind in a new way to see things anew, starting today, to be receptive to showing up in a new way, and to live with a greater sense of unpredictability, if you will. Traditionally, in the Centers for Spiritual Living, over the first 4 Sundays of the month, we use the first 4 chapters of the book, The Science of Mind, to kick things off. And I will do that starting next Sunday. But this day, on this first Sunday, I wanted us to kick in an awareness of the change of the calendar as we've moved from 2021 to 2022 to check in and remember that, we've now since marked off the calendar 2020. Whew, what a year. We checked off the calendar 2021. Whew, what a year. We're now in 2022, and as we tick off this calendar and say Happy New Year to it in a year or so, we're probably going to once again go, whew, what a year. But as we step into this new year, according to this calendar, I'd like for us to look at it as a birthday, a celebration, a birth of an opportunity for us to light the candles and move into this new year with excitement, not because we have attachment to what is coming, but because we're willing to open up, to see life anew, to be open up to live in a new way, and to open up to burning away the old, disintegrating that which was, if you will, and move into this happy new year in a state of being happy. In a state of being happy no matter what is going on in the physical world. No matter what is going on in the world of the relative, no matter what is going on in the world of effect, is what we call it here in this teaching philosophy and way of life. We've had a journey over the last 2 years of, certainly with COVID, of changing everything in our life. And what's important for us to remember is change happens. And that you and I have the opportunity today to make change happen to the best of our ability in a way that gives us the mental state of awareness, the mental acuity, if you will, to live life from the perspective of being spiritually awakened and making choices in regards to change in a way that aligns with our divine nature. And in so doing, we find ourselves more personally self-empowered than ever before. And we do this by using the words that I shared this morning on our text that went out as a guidepost. And let's use that as a foundational tool for how we go forward from this moment forward. And it's from the Serenity Prayer. And the words are this: God, grant me the serenity, which means peacefulness and untroubled state of mind, to accept the things I cannot change, and the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That wisdom is not something that we have to seek from the outside and plant into our mind. If it's already there as a quality of the divine for us to reveal. The key is to plant the seed of intention to allow it to be present. Well, how do we do that? We do that by allowing ourselves and choosing to live a life of spontaneity. Spontaneity is the way. Yaron just sang about it in a way of not letting life be predictable, to let there be unpredictability to life, because the truth is there's so much that is unpredictable. In fact, it's almost all unpredictable in our life. But so often we think we know exactly what's happening. I love this graphic on the screen that talks about predicting spontaneity. And the little lady sitting there says, our lives are so predictable. And then the man says, well, I knew you were going to say that. To what degree is that true in all of our lives, that we already have predetermined what life is going to be like, what life is going to feel like, what life is actually going to show up like? Because once we live in a state of predictability, of predetermining up front what it's going to be like, more than likely that is exactly how it's going to be, because that is an example of this philosophy, faith, and way of life already in play, because the law of life responds to us by corresponding to our state of mind. So what we're called then to have and to be is to live in a state of spontaneity while having that founded in a truth of knowing who and what we are as a divine being. That who and what we are is an unalterable expression of the only thing there is the baseline from how we show up in life, and then showing up in life from a place of spontaneity, of the willingness and the ability and the openness for let life to come at us in many different ways, and then to be excited and engaged in that change. It's written in regards to spontaneity in this way. Since we all must begin into this engagement of spontaneity right where we are, most of us will be compelled to begin our healing work, this new framework of mind, with a mechanical process. In other words, if I think this, the law will respond this way and I will get this. If I believe this and think this way, I'll get this. And yes, that is true, once again, to a degree, with the focus, as I'm inviting us all, to be on what we know ourselves to be, as opposed to trying to manifest a parking space or more money, or the list goes on and on and on and on. But to move inward into knowing that we're perfect and whole and complete as we are. That as divine beings, our role is to know that we're peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and love. And as a result of that, what's being revealed through us, emanated through us, is perfection, wholeness, and completeness. And from there, we take our highest thought, as it says here. We should take the highest thought that we have and then attempt to enlarge on this consciousness until it embraces a more vital concept of reality. In other words, a more ecstatic world to live in. We do that through consciousness. A consciousness in this sense means an inner embodiment of the ideas that I just spoke of. And so if one wants to demonstrate peace or goodwill or kindness or prosperity or more love, then it's important for us to first have a consciousness of that. And we do that by aligning our state of thinking with our spiritual truth. And then to move forward with more than just faith that what we desire to experience shall show up. We do it while remembering that we're living with and dealing with an immutable law, one that responds to us by corresponding to our state of awareness, our state of belief, our state of consciousness. And so in that sense, once again, while a certain consciousness may be mechanically induced, of course, the more spontaneity that we put into the mechanical world, in other words, a receptivity to being open to the law of life, bringing to us things that we didn't think were possible or even could show up, and then to be tuned in to those very things, that spontaneity that's taking place in life as it comes our way. So often that is believed to be a miracle. But it's important for us to remember that living in a state of spontaneity really is the best adventure in life. Well, what do I mean when I say living in a state of spontaneity or living spontaneously? What this means is that we approach life as coming or resulting from a natural spontaneity, means coming or resulting from a natural impulse or tendency, without effort or premeditation, natural or unconstrained, unplanned. In other words, a spontaneous burst of applause, right, is an example of that. Or a person giving to acting upon sudden impulses. What I'm speaking of in this context today is a willingness to be open to what may show up in life when we choose to do something a bit different. To be open to letting our inner guide us as to what to do and what to be in life. A willingness to open our ears and hear something beyond what we'd heard before. A willingness to let God grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, to have the courage to live from the heart, to change the things that we can, and then the wisdom to know the difference, and then to act in accordance. You know, over this last week, it's rained so much, and there's been so many opportunities, I'll speak for myself, to step out into the rain, both because I wanted to be outdoors, as well as I needed to take my pooch out. But in those moments of the earth presenting to me and us things that I didn't expect, that it could rain even more, or that it would smell different, or we would get wet, or I would fall into a puddle, to let those moments be moments of joy, as opposed to moments of pain or discourse or unsettledness. To open up to what's possible in life as opposed to living with what's potentially going to be wrong or impossible. We've heard this many times over, this quote from Gil Atkinson, that impossible is just an opinion. But today, let's shake that up, just like Audrey Hepburn tells us, and says, nothing is impossible, for the word itself says, I'm possible. I'm possible. What possibilities are we willing to open up to today and engage in a new way? Living from a state of impossibility, or can't or won't, just stops you before you even start on the journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. But remember, on this journey, we still have wisdom to guide us in life. So let's shift from impossible to possible. I'm possible because of what we are imbued with and what is inherent within us. And to remember that living life by choice from a state of mind of I'm possible gives us the target on what to focus on in mind. To look at it through the lens of the bullseye framework. To look at how we think and how we determine our traction channels. In other words, what holds us to knowing, this deep knowing, which is beyond faith, that the power of the divine is given within us already, the peaceful and serenity and untroubled nature to accept the things that I cannot change. It also gives me the possibility to have the courage to change what I can, my state of mind, my state of awareness, the way that I express life, and the wisdom to know the difference. For it's within that red zone that's the highest potential channels to have traction into that self-awareness of a spiritual awakening that ultimately provides for us greater personal self-empowerment, so that we vibrate at a higher frequency in that process of our journey, to align with a higher frequency of our divine nature, moving closer and closer to our divinity, which then creates for us a mindset that the law responds to and brings to us more and more and more experiences and expressions of that, which then provides us a greater sense of personal self-empowerment that then gives us the opportunity to know who we are in a greater way. So the target then is to focus on knowing who we are and to live from a place of courage and wisdom and to let the wisdom guide us. There's 6 ways here to turn impossible in our life into I'm possible. Say it with me, I'm possible. The first is to identify your why. Why do you want to have a spiritual awakening? Why do you want to live from a greater sense of possibility in life? Why do you want to be more personally self-empowered? And the answer to that for each and every one of us is going to be different in regards to our own personal way of showing up in life. But the ultimate why for all of us is to align ourselves with our divine nature, to live from a place of mysticism, of living in oneness, of not just knowing the power that is within us, but honoring the oneness of all of the mosaic of life itself. Step number 2 is to ditch excuses and avoid your triggers. In other words, quit complaining of why life isn't what you want it to be. Quit whining about what's going on in the world that doesn't seem to fit what you want the world to look and to be like. And to avoid putting yourself in situations that cause you to be triggered, or when you're in these situations, choose to not let yourself be triggered. In other words, let's return to our why in life. Another way is to live in the state of mind of, oh honey, I shrunk the obstacle. What this means is that we give ourselves the ability to look at what is being confronted to us as an obstacle and distill it down to what is true about it and what is true within us in regards to how we approach and engage in that which is seemingly showing up as an obstacle in life. The majority of us that are participating in this message this morning, whether we're here live on Facebook or through our Zoom or later at a YouTube channel, more than likely have been around life for 20 plus years, or maybe 20 times 2, or even 20 times 3. And so we all know that deep within us, we have the power to transcend the very things that are called obstacles. We have the power within us to distill down whatever is causing us illness within ourselves and to then move forward into healing, aligning with our oneness, and participating then in opening up to a spontaneous way to look at life from a new perspective, ultimately having a new experience. And the only way that we can do this is to move into step number 4, which is to ride the waves of life itself and to embrace your inner Nancy Drew. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar with Nancy Drew, it's a investigator, if you will. What we're being told there is to continue to ride the waves of life itself, to line up for this journey of life itself, and then to be willing to look at life through a lens of being an inspector or an investigator. In other words, be inquisitive as to what's going on around us and going on through us. Number 5 is don't be discouraged. In other words, because we know that we have the ability to live with courage, in other words, not discouraged, but to live with courage. And the courage that we have is to change the things that we can in life and to settle into the wisdom to know the difference and to know that we play a role in the co-creative nature of our life in developing our consciousness, and in so doing the way that we radiate and emanate to the world. Today, let's let today be the day that we open up to a spontaneous way of living from courage. And lastly, let's not be confused with the things that we say we can't do to simply being the things that I don't want to do. It's okay to say no. Having an unemotional, highly empowered no in life does give us the opportunity to become more personally self-empowered on our journey of spiritual awakening. But let's remember to not lean into no from a perspective of closing the door to the opportunity to live a life of spontaneity, a life of adventure, a life of expressing our divinity in a way that is more magnificent than ever before. And of course, as we do that, then the law of life responds because that is its job. Let's remember today is the day to live spontaneously. And to do so, to live spontaneously, requires a deep-seated belief that anything and everything is possible within the realm of possibility if we apply ourselves fully and then choose to be open to what's to come on that wave that we're riding. It's imperative for us to remember to trust the process of life and to go with the flow of life without second guessing ourselves. Remember this power that we speak of, that we are one with, that's giving us life itself, is unfailing by nature. It's never failed us, and it never will. So let's stop wasting any mental, any energy, any spiritual coin, thinking that it possibly could, because that is an impossibility. So today, let's choose that we're here to be spontaneous. And being spontaneous is all about allowing detours and randomness to come into your life. Remember, life is an adventure if we open ourselves to that. Let's balance ourselves in these 6 new ways of living in I'm possible by remembering that love is the key that opens the heart on this journey, that hope is the arena, the dream that awakens the soul, that peace is the light that guides the way, and to remember that we already have these qualities imbued within us, and then faith is the certainty that sees us through. Faith, the full assurance in the heart. Faith of God, as Ernest Holmes tells us. And just a smidgen of faith, we're told in the Bible, in Matthew 17:25, as small as a mustard seed can move mountains. As we continue on this journey of embracing and stepping into this new year of 2022, let's you and I expand our faith. If for no other reason, faith in the fantastic and fabulous things that are coming our way through our willingness and our commitment to be more spontaneous. The great Deepak Chopra gives us these 7 principles for spontaneous fulfillment of our desires in life. Number 1, to remember that you're a ripple in the fabric of the cosmos. We've heard this before, but let's hear it again right now. You are a ripple in the fabric of the cosmos. Imagine the ripple effect that takes place when each one of us agrees to be willing and then act in accordance to that willingness to be spontaneous, to laugh more, to live more, to love more, to be peaceful more, to have more hope. And to remember that through the mirror of our relationships, we discover our non-local self. In other words, it's through the mirroring of the relationships that we have with each other that we discover our divine nature, including the relationship that we have with ourself, which is why I had us look at ourself in the mirror during our calling in the light ritual earlier. To stop and engage with our relationships and ask ourselves, am I willing to see the divine anew in these relationships? Am I willing to be the divine anew in this relationship? And the 3rd principle is to master your inner dialogue. What words are you using inside? Are they words of possibility or impossibility? Number 4, to remember that our intent weaves the tapestry of the universe. Our intent. Deepak Chopra is the one who told us that inherent within the seed of intention already is the fulfillment of its desire. So let's paint a picture that today we shift our intention of living in a state of spontaneity, and that weaves the tapestry of the universe. And because we're a ripple in the fabric of the cosmos, as we set the intention to be more spontaneous, things sparkle out all beyond where we can see into the depths of the cosmos, and good is being made manifest. And so today, let's step into number 5 and harness our emotional turbulence to no longer allow there to be this discord, if you will, there to be turbulence in our state of emotionality, to be willing to ride the wave, of course, but to do our best to not oppress our emotions, but to fine-tune them in a way that they serve us well. And then to step into number 6 and to then celebrate the dance of the cosmos. To know that the very thing that we're choosing to be in a state of spontaneity as it moves out there must return to us multiplied abundantly. Of course, so the cosmos around us is responding in dance in the very manner that we're emanating and expressing. This is happening already, but as we choose to up our game, what returns to us is in a more magnificent manner than ever before. And so today is the day that we choose to then access the conspiracy of improbabilities by choosing to step in to that which is impossible. The key to living a synchro-destiny, in other words, one that is in alignment with good being made manifest, and a spontaneous fulfillment of the desires, is using these 7 principles consciously, purposefully, intentionally, and actively. So today, let's tap into our spiritual wisdom on this day, January 2nd, in the year 2022, in a new way, and listen to the great teacher Ernest Holmes, who tells us that the mechanical laws of nature, they're set and immutable. In other words, they're doing their thing no matter what. But the spontaneous recognition of these laws then give us the power to bring them into practical use in everyday life and experience. Ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between and beyond, today is the day to use these laws in a new way, very practically, not because we want to have a life of practicality, but by using a foundation of practicality, we open ourselves up to then be spontaneous and live in a state of magic and mystery and mysticism. To remember, as the Tao tells us, is that life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality, that which is already real, be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever the way they like, but we do that by showing up in a state of spontaneity. We do that by showing up to opening our mind today. As I was preparing for this message today, I stopped on this very slide several times and asked myself, am I willing to open my mind to the newness that is to come in my life? Am I willing to open my mind to ride the wave of what's happening over these next days, weeks, months? Am I willing to open my mind to dance in the cosmos and ride the wave and to set in motion the ripple of good things? Or am I going to approach it through a closed mind, old thinking, old ideology, that which was potentially or probably even possibly the past? No matter what, let's let go of the past and open ourselves to the new. Let's all collectively choose to be open, to be willing, and to be ready for what is to come, because of how we choose to then show up. Today is the day if we choose to let it be. It's said, that spontaneity is the spice of life, but I don't see it, so on the shelf, so I'm going to go with this garlic powder. Now, I love that, and I think it's a bit funny, but what it's reminding us is to seek that spontaneity, to know that it is the spice of life. Drama's not the way of life. Spontaneity is. Let's you and I be spontaneous in our approach to life, because some of the most thrilling things in life are done on impulse. And so today, let's allow ourselves to step into the unknown. And to remember that it's okay to step into the unknown. As Paul Boynton tells us, as we step into the unknown, and Lord knows there's a lot of unknown in front of us, we discover that we can be fragile and strong and terrified and brave all at the same time. Why? Because as we look to the beautiful mosaic of the stained glass to the right of this great quote, it reminds us of the V and the science of mind symbol, which shows us and reminds us that as we think, we develop a state of mind, and as we create a state of mind, that the law of life responds to it, moving through that V, and gives us back form that's reflective of our state of mind. But today, let's do that with a new framework of mind. Let's do that with a new and freshly curated, open mind. Let's do that being spontaneous on what is to come. And let's do that by being spontaneous on what we're willing to give. It says from the How to Be Happy rules, number 171 is to be spontaneous. I'm being spontaneous right now and choosing to make the decision to move that to rule number 1. Be spontaneous. And to remember that perfect, in that sense of trying to make everything right, is oh so boring. While spontaneity is the key to life. The essence of pleasure, feeling the goodness of life itself, is indeed spontaneity. For spontaneity is being present in the present. And so as we look at this image on the screen, which reminds us of all the sparkling possibility and the mystical, magical elements of life that's there waiting for us to participate in, we open our mind. And as we open our mind, we remember this, that every individual of life is a unique manifestation of the whole, just as every branch is a particular outreaching of the tree. Today, let's be spontaneous in how we address each unique manifestation of the whole, and then open ourselves up to use the thing itself in a way that as we move through and dance in this dance of the cosmos, we can feel all of these opportunities of possibility being turned into form in our life, just as the image on the screen shows us. The universe says yes to us when we say yes to the universe. Today is the day to ask ourselves, what question are we ready to say yes to? What can we do today to be more spontaneous? You know the answer. Set it free. And so it is. Thank you so very much. Yaron's going to come back on and sing a very special song for us to guide us through this next step of our being spontaneous. Yaron?
Hey Keith. So I'll give you a little bit of story. So this song I wrote when the Corona, the first round just started. A friend of mine wrote it to his mom, and I was like first week, and I didn't know what else to do other than just sit and write music, and that's what came out. He wrote the melody, and I wrote the lyrics to it, sort of like a hymn. It's called "All Will Be Good Today." It has to do with Keith's message of the day too. Today will give us warmth and grace, virtues of love, mother's embrace, the strength to smile, wash off the pain. All will be good today. Remind us when the good did win. No matter how dark or thicken our skin, a ray of warmth will cut within. All will be good today. I'm not afraid. I've done this before. Been through riches and through poor. Not to lose sight of what's in store. I'll repeat. All will be good today. rest, but also heal. We mustn't ignore history's wheel and know that it's okay to feel. All will be good today. All will be good. All will be good today. Mm.
I love that song, Yaron.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful, and the lyrics. I know I just seem like I'd lost my mind there for a second, but I was just thinking about how it's so touching, just to remind us in a very simple and melodic way to let it all begin right now. That today is the day, right? It's today is the day. Like it's today is
Yeah,
it.
I love how music sometimes remind you of an era, a time. So this
Uh
song
huh.
definitely, reminds me of the last 2 years, but it's also we have to be optimistic, right?
Yep. And so
Today.
be spontaneous in your um, be spontaneous. We'll leave it at that. Thank you. As the sun sets over your right shoulder, or the moon's in the sky, right shoulder. Cool. Thank you. Thank you. So now is the time in our service that we get to spontaneously support our community financially. I'm going to place on the screen the methods to do that, and I want you all to know that all that your support is deeply appreciated and honored and welcomed and put to great use. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the right slide for that. You think after 2 years of doing this, I'll have it down, right? But I'm being spontaneous and trying to figure it out. But in a serious note, I want to thank you all for your support over the last year and know that all financial support is deeply welcomed and honored and received here and put back to good use. And as we step into this next month ahead and this next year, we're going to, our intent is to return back to the building on January 23rd for one Sunday. We're hoping that's going to happen. There's some issues right now, obviously, with Omicron and maybe being able to access the building. So let's all just keep our minds open as to how that was going to show up. And you'll know that you'll continue to be informed. And I just share that with you because we continue to appreciate and welcome your financial support. And so the way to do that, I'm going to put on the screen right now. Excuse me. And know that, sorry, too many things on the screen. Excuse me. So the ways to do that is you can go to our website, CSL-LA.org, and click on donate. Our app in the App Store, Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles. Click on the upper left bars and the screen will come up and you can see the donate tab, or you can mail in a check to the address at 1200 North La Brea Avenue, West Hollywood, California, 90038, or my phone number's on the screen if you feel the need or the desire, or to be spontaneous to call me and do that privately. I'll be happy to take care of that for you. While we all do that, Yaron's going to take us through our conscious giving song, Love Is My Decision. Yaron?
Love is my decision. It's up to me to give up my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, Source will show me how. Love is my decision, yeah. My decision right here, right now. decision, yeah. My decision right here, right now.
And so love is our decision, and I affirm for each one of us that we are abundant, we're prosperous, we create that state of mind, we own it, and know that the law of life does its part. And so it is. So I'm putting on the screen the ways to access our weekday midweek morning meditation that takes place on Wednesdays at 8:30 a.m. That resumes this week, and I would appreciate each and every one of you doing your best to join us at that time. It's a great way to not only kick off the new year, but a great way to step into the mid part of the week to remember who we are and to tune us into the remembrance of the serenity that we have within us and the ability to change what we can, the courage to change what we can, to accept the things we can't, and the wisdom to know the difference. It's a great way to anchor ourselves into a life of spontaneity. So please feel free to do that. A big thank you to Yaron being back today as a music director. A real pleasure to have you with us. A thank you to Travis Smith, our audio technician, as well as to Robert Hensley, who supports us with social media, and our administrative. A big thank you to each and every one of you for being here today. It's a great pleasure and honor to share this time with you in whatever format you come and join us today. Please watch out for our emails that will go out the first part of the week, which will keep you up to date as to what's happening here and whatever event will be happening within this month, so that we can join together in person when we get to that point in time. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email. You can access all that information through our website, CSL-LA.org, or our app in the App Store, as well as you can see us on social media. We're on Facebook, and we have a YouTube channel, and we're on Instagram. Your thoughts and suggestions and support are all greatly welcome, appreciated, and acknowledged. With that said, let's close out with a meditation, affirmation, and then we'll say goodbye to those on Facebook. And if you're on Zoom, you can stay on, and we can just say a brief hello to each other. And so let's close out. So just aligning ourselves with the state of awareness of who we are as divine beings inherently, I affirm for us that it's this foundation of mind that we open ourselves to a spontaneous, almost combustible way to live, knowing it's through this state of being happy in this new year that we release and disintegrate the old and move into the new with excitement and with joy and with an alignment into a depth of wisdom and knowledge that is within us that transcends all experience itself. And so when we say, God, grant me the serenity, we affirm that it's already there within us, a state of peacefulness, a state of being untroubled. And it's from this state of mind that we move forward, accepting the things we can't change, being personally self-empowered to know that, and then to tap into the courage to live from the heart, to change the things that we can, and then choose to be spontaneous in how we show up in using this power. And then to revel in the allowance of the wisdom that exists within us to guide us. It's from there that we know the difference and act accordingly. And life so unfolds. And for that we say thank you. Thank you. And thank you. And so it is. May you have a peaceful, blessed, fun-filled, enjoyable, spontaneous, miraculous sparks of goodness around you day, week, and time ahead. Know that you're loved. Know that you're appreciated. Know that you're celebrated. And good is happening for you on this journey of your being personally self-empowered as you continue to be awakened to your spiritual nature. All is good. All is well. And so are you. Have a great Sunday. Thank you.